Let's make some candles today, guys. Now, I know I made a video a couple of weeks ago showing how I make the candles, but I thought I'd do a little voiceover for this one. Now, whenever I make candles, I always start with cleaning my space, and secondly, I always write down whatever it is that I need to make and make sure that I have the measurements written out, just so I don't get confused or flustered during the process. It makes it so much easier having this written down and having something to reference whilst I'm making the candles. Now, I generally tend to use a coconut and soy wax blend. This one specifically is from Candle Shack. If you're in the UK or the EU, you'll know. And it comes in slab form if you're buying it in a larger quantity, and I just store it in this plastic container just for ease of storage and basically to preserve it. Storing it in this way also makes it quite easy to cut the wax. I'm not quite sure what this tool that I'm using is called. I'm pretty sure it's used for either icing cakes, and I think that's where I got it from. If you didn't know, I used to make cakes, and that's one of the tools that I used to use. Obviously, I no longer make cakes, so no longer using it for cakes, but it definitely makes it a lot easier to cut the wax up. Now, fun fact about me, I don't actually like the feel of wax on my hands, and I keep saying that I need to get gloves, but I always forget. So basically, as I'm putting the wax into the container, I do not like the feel at all, but there you go. Once all the wax that I need is in a jug, I then put the jug on the stove using the Bain Marie method. I still use this method despite having a wax melter, just because I feel like I don't melt that much wax in order to warrant me using the wax melter. So I love the Bain Marie method. I can keep a close eye on the temperature, and it helps me pour small batches of candles at a time. Now, when I measure my wax in solid form, I always overestimate how much I need. So for example, if I needed 660, I would always measure out 667 in this case, because I then re-measure the wax in its liquid form to make sure that I have the most specific weight. Now, the jars that I'm using are the Small Vogue Pearl Iridescent jars from London Luxury Candle Supplies, and I have about, I think it's 24 jars I ordered, and basically we are prepping for a Christmas fair coming up soon. Now, unfortunately, these jars do not come in their own boxes, which is what I was hoping for, because it would make my life a little bit easier when it comes to packaging and reusing packaging, but oh well, we're going to make do. So at first I start by unwrapping the candle jars and making sure there are no cracks, no breaks, no scratches or anything that would compromise the quality of my candle. And once we've got them all set out, we set them up ready for cleaning. Now, cleaning is quite an important step in the candle making process, because one, not only do most candle containers come with little bits of debris and dust inside, but also cleaning especially the bottom of the jars helps the wick stick to the jars better. So once you've added in your wick and your liquid and you go to put your wick stabilizers on, if you have not cleaned your jars, you'll find that sometimes your wick stickers do not stick to the bottom of your jar, and as you go to stabilize your wick, it ends up detaching itself from the jar, and that's the last thing you want. One, when you're making the candle, and two, when the candle has already been sold and your customer is using it, because at that point it can then become quite a hazardous product. Now, I've seen most people use some alcohol spray and some tissue. However, I just use some antibacterial wipes and I leave it to dry. Enjoy a short montage of me cleaning my jars. Now it's time to prepare the wicks for our candle. I tend to go for wick stickers and attach them directly to the wicks, and then I attach them to the jars, and I have seen other candle makers using a hot glue gun and putting that directly onto the wick and then attaching the wick to the jar. Now, both ways can actually compromise your candle if you are going for a vegan friendly product. That's because wick stickers or hot glue gun glues can contain products that have derived from animals, such as gelatin or casein. So it's important to check the ingredients of your wick stickers or your glues if you are going for a vegan friendly candle. So once I've attached my wicks to the wick stickers, I then attach the wick stickers to the bottom of the clean jars. Now it's time to measure the fragrance oil. Now the way I measure my fragrance oil is through fragrance content, not fragrance load, and different candle makers tend to use the different measuring techniques. However, the IFRA and CLP guidelines tend to go by fragrance content and not fragrance load, so it's important to bear that in mind. Now, knowing how much you should use comes with testing and testing and testing, and knowing which wicks you should use also comes with testing and testing and testing. So unfortunately I can't give you the formula for that because it will require a certain scent and then therefore a certain wick and a certain fragrance load. I do keep a very close eye on my temperatures. Not only do I have a thermometer in the wax whilst it's melting, I also recheck the temperature using the infrared thermometer as well. Temperatures do play an important part in the candle making process, so documenting this when you are testing will allow you to determine the best temperatures to heat your wax to add your fragrance oil in, and to pour your candles at. Whilst I'm waiting for those candles to solidify, I go ahead and prep my next jars for the next scent, and I will go ahead and apply the wick stabilizers a bit later on in the video. And I repeat the same process for all of the candles until I've poured the entire 24 jars. just wanted to add a quick note here to say that any unscented wax that I have left, rather than let it solidify in the jugs, I tend to pour it into a wax melt mold, and once that's solidified I will go ahead and pop it back into the candle wax to use for later, so nothing gets wasted. It's now the next day and it's time to trim the wicks. Now, trimming the wicks, believe it or not, is a very important step in understanding the candle making process, and it's probably one of the reasons why a lot of the times that we first make a candle and it doesn't burn correctly is due to the wick either being too long or too short. So another reason why you should spend some time testing your candle is to make sure that your wicks are trimmed to a specific length in order to make sure that it has the best burn possible. Now let's attach our CLP labels. CLP is the EU and UK system that classifies, labels and packages products based on their chemical hazards to ensure that they're sold and used safely, and it contains information such as ingredients, hazards, pictograms and other important information. I have made a video on this, so I will leave it linked in the description.